Hi friends, I hope you're having a great day today. And in this video today, I wanted to talk a little bit about my recommendations for marketing platforms. It's a question that I get quite a bit of what do I recommend for a website or what do I recommend for managing social media? And as I was thinking about it, I wanted to create the collection as a resource library that you could find that information. So you're not making, your best guess on, do I want to choose this platform for my website? Or, I'm not really sure if this platform is good for managing social media. So I created this video to share my recommendations for the platforms that I like and I use daily for my clients. Now, I say that with a caveat that these are just really my preference. They've worked well for me. I give you quite a few options for each topic that we're going to go over, but it's really about finding the best fit for you and what your work style is. So I hope these get you started and at least give you a foundation to maybe build on. And maybe you'll find another platform that you really like and you'll be recommending it to me sometime. So let's go ahead and get started and jump right in. So I first want to talk about email platforms. And this is probably the question I get the most because there are so many email platforms out there and they all kind of do the same thing. And so it's really about preference. But I wanted to go over these four to talk about what I like and maybe don't like about them and why I think they work really well for small businesses and nonprofits. So MailChimp is my all-time favorite email platform when it comes to small businesses and smaller nonprofits. MailChimp was created for small businesses. So it has never intended to be this major platform for a company that has tens of thousands of contacts. It's meant to be small for small businesses and it can be used for smaller nonprofits. So it's very nimble. It's very easy to use. I always recommend it to my clients. I use it for myself, for my agency, and it's just quick to get on there, create an email, and send out. It's very easy to collect contacts on it. So that's always my recommendation. They also have a course that you can take that will teach you all the ins and outs about MailChimp and their features. And then you become MailChimp certified. I'm MailChimp certified. So it's something that I always recommend. I think I did it maybe in an afternoon sitting on the couch on a Saturday. So it's not something that's going to take you hours and hours and hours to do. The other platform that I like is Constant Contact. I haven't used it heavily, but I have used it for some of my more mid-sized clients. And it's very similar to MailChimp, very easy to use. I find it to be pretty cost effective. And so that's one that's probably my second choice if I had to choose. HubSpot and Salesforce are a little bit on the more expensive side, especially Salesforce. I recommend Salesforce for my larger clients just because of the capabilities, but it is expensive. It's not something that may work for a small business, depending on the type of contacts or the type of audience or the number of contacts you have. But it's always something to keep in the back of your mind as something you may want to work up towards. HubSpot, I really like the HubSpot products, but HubSpot tends to be a little bit more on the pricey side when it comes to small businesses and nonprofits. They have, similar to Salesforce, they have a lot of options that you can have the email platform or the customer service platform or the CRM platform. So there's lots of options with it. Again, it's a little bit more on the pricier side. Me being a small agency with myself and a couple employees, I find that it's just a little bit too expensive for what I'm trying to do. But as I grow, it would probably be my next stop. Social media platforms and how I manage social media. So I am a little bit different than most social media managers. I try to keep it as simple as possible. And I actually use Facebook Business Manager quite a bit, or you'll see it's also called Meta Business Manager recently. So this is where I am managing Facebook and Instagram for my clients. I've got my insights in there. I can run ads from there and it connects off to Facebook Ads Manager. And they're really adding new features all the time to make it easier to use. Now, it can be a little bit difficult to set up your business manager. And so it does take some time. And, I'm always happy to help you navigate that. So please don't hesitate to reach out. But I just like having everything in one spot and it's being posted on the platforms directly. It's not going through a third party. If I had to choose a third party platform, I really like later.com. I was introduced to later.com through a client who was already using it. And it was super easy to use, super easy to learn. And I liked that I was able to have multiple Facebook pages on there. I was able to have multiple Instagram pages on there. And I was also able to have LinkedIn. The other thing that I like about later.com that a lot of third-party platforms does that Facebook Business Manager does not is you can, for Instagram, you can quickly do a link in bio. And so instead of having to change out that link every time you want to post something, because as we know, Instagram does not post hyperlinked URLs, it's doing it for you. So you would just set it up that image, when someone clicks on it, goes to the website or the web page that you're wanting it to go to. So I really like later.com. It also has an option to link to your LinkedIn and can post on your LinkedIn for you, which is rare on social media platforms. That's something that's not as readily available right now. And so that's something that I really like. The other platform that I've used very little, I've used it actually more on the analytics side, is Sprout Social. But it is a platform that I'm hearing a lot about. I really like their analytics. A lot of people use it. It's fairly low cost, but that's always an option as well. Next, I want to talk about web platforms. And this is a question that I probably get the most from small business owners and even some nonprofits, because websites seem to be a very confusing space for people, because you hear of companies spending $20, $50, $80,000 on websites. And that's a very big number when you're a small business or a nonprofit. And while those type of websites do exist, they have a lot of features, they have a lot of time put into the building of them. There are easier and more cost-effective options for small businesses. And so I wanted to dive in to that a little bit. Wix, the Wix platform is what I use for my own website. You are on a Wix platform right now. And I hadn't heard of Wix until as I was doing research, came across it a few years ago when I needed to build my agency website. So it's so easy to use. It has great templates. One piece that I really enjoy is, as I have been growing my business, they have a lot of apps that I can add more features to my website without having to go to a third-party app or a third-party widget. And so everything is in one place when it comes to Wix. There are other features like email marketing that I'm not necessarily using, just because I like to use MailChimp, like I was talking a little while ago. But you have that option to keep everything in the Wix environment if you want. Very similar to Wix is Squarespace. I've worked at Squarespace a little bit with clients, and again, very easy to use. Wix and Squarespace were built to be easy and to be accessible. And so you don't have to have a ton of experience building websites in order to navigate around and really create a nice professional looking website. WordPress has come a long way in the past really 10 years. I remember when I first started out, WordPress was blogs, and then it kind of evolved into you can create a website. And there's still a lot of confusion around website. And so when I'm talking to my small business owners, I always recommend Wix and Squarespace, because I find that Wix you can really get into a black hole. And I actually recently was working on a WordPress website for a client, and I got into a black hole myself, and I had a hard time digging out. And so if you feel a little bit more confident in your website building skills, WordPress is great and the templates are great and it can do a lot for you. But if you're just starting out and you're wanting a DIY option, I always recommend Wix and Squarespace. Continuing on web platforms, I always recommend to people that you incorporate Google Analytics and Google Search Console in your website. Now, on Wix and Squarespace and on WordPress, this is just an easy addition that you just need to add in the tracking ID. It's very simple. You don't have to code or anything like that. And so the reason I like these is Google Analytics is going to show you, it just does a better job of tracking your website data. Wix has its own analytics section that it'll show you the data for your website, but I found that's good for the surface level, but with Google Analytics, it allows you to get more in depth with your data. You can see, where are people located that are looking at your website? What pages are they going to? What pages are they exiting your website? And so I always recommend Google Analytics. They really have the stronghold when it comes to data and analyzing how your website is being visited. And then Google Search Console is something that I've actually just recently started using. I'm still very much learning about it, but it allows you to track how your website is coming up in search. What are the keywords that people are typing in, and then your website is popping up. And it just provides so much more information of how are people accessing your website. And both Google Analytics and Google Search Console, there are tutorials through Google that are very quick to go through. I'm actually in the process of continuing going through the Google Search Console videos just as a refresher. And it's something that I turn on in the background and I listen, and it's provided a lot of good information. So you can get in there and kind of navigate around on your own. It's very simple to do, but if you're wanting to take it a step further and really understand what's going on, I would recommend doing those videos. And then finally, I just want to talk about some miscellaneous platforms that I like and use quite a bit. Canva is obviously very popular. I use it for a lot of graphics. I have a graphic designer that I work with, but sometimes I just need a quick graphic, or sometimes she may not be available or maybe booked out or something. So Canva provides so many options. I actually am still using the free version. I haven't had a need to move to the premium version. So you could do a lot with the free version. I have another video about a Canva tutorial that I go more in depth about how to navigate Canva and its features in the collection. So I'd recommend definitely watching that. But if you are not familiar with Canva, I would definitely get familiar, add that to your list, because it can really change the professionalism of your social media or other graphics to a next level. And then the other two platforms that I use that I talked about in the how to make a marketing video with your phone video is iMovie, and then also some teleprompter apps. So I edit through iMovie. You've probably seen through this collection, I am very much a simplicity is best, and iMovie is simple and it's easy to understand. And that's what I really like about it. I'm not trying to use really fancy editing platforms. Those are available, but iMovie does what I need it to do. And so I always recommend just using something simple if you can. And then the final platform that I really like is you can find all kinds of teleprompter apps. So if you're creating a video with your phone, a selfie style video that's vertical, which remember, only vertical videos when you're doing selfie videos, you can have a teleprompter, just load in what you are saying, and then your phone will turn into a teleprompter, and it makes having to remember all of your messaging and making sure you're saying what you want to say, so much easier. So I definitely recommend that. There's always more platforms popping up, and I feel like I'm always trying to find new ones. So if you have a platform that you recommend, shoot me an email and I'd love to learn about it. But then also let me know how some of these platforms are working for you. And I wish you the best of luck.